welcome to the French Disconnection. I'm using my comb, my scissors, and my cutting angle and to make sure that I get a clean line. So when you keep your comb parallel to your cutting line, it allows you to create a straighter line because now you have this guide, which is your comb, to show you exactly where that hair needs to be cut. So I start in the center, establish my length, and then using my comb and my scissors behind the hair, I wedge the hair into the comb, and then I push that hair back all the way to the nape to make sure that I'm getting it at a 0 degree elevation. So I want to make sure that I'm pushing that hair towards the nape to get that true 0 degree elevation. So I start square here in the back with the graduation. And then as I work my way to the sides, I know I'm going to kind of round those corners out just slightly. So as we're working up, I wanted to do this a little bit in fast motion for you so you can really see how much I'm elevating the hair as I progress through each section. I just am softening the graduation through the back and then walking around my section, creating some soft graduation through the sides, making sure that my length is exactly the same on both sides. So you can see that I'm slightly, barely, ever so slightly graduating that first section by cutting it in my fingers and elevating it at a very low elevation. So here I am in the back, elevating just higher than my previous section, checking my graduation, making sure it's good, going through the side and slightly elevating a little higher still. So I created a strong shape with my scissors, strong round graduation, and now I'm going to take my straight razor. Now you can see why I've been hanging on to these sections on the underneath, because I really want this to be something that stands out, that's different, that really gives a new take on this French bob and still kind of modernizes it. And but with that little bit of extra drag that I get on the feather razor, I can create a little more softness and it's a little more forgiving. The devil's in the details, except for the fact that to me, it's more like the details are king. Before I do the sides, those side sections that are hanging down, I want to establish her fringe section because I want to make sure that everything has a flow to it and then it feels like the fringe matches with the underneath and the underneath matches with the top. This approach on the fringe is totally different and it's exactly the same as how you cut the back. So just slightly, just enough to give me a little extra length on the side, but that creates that beautiful round shape around her face. I did the round graduation and I preserved that last section for my feather razor and I'm cutting it just ever so slightly longer than the underneath. So I'm just looking for that top little veil of hair to be soft, ever so slightly longer than the underneath. And now I'm going to start working with the hair that I preserved from the underneath, cutting it exactly the same as the back. And now this is going to be kind of the longest length. So you want to make sure that the length is good for your client's eye level, you know, where they want to be. So now that I've finished the hairline detail and the fringe, I'm moving on to the sides. And when she adds curl to her hair or just wants to accentuate her natural curl pattern, she'll very easily be able to do so. But you always want to think about the density of the hair of your client and how much you're slide cutting. So that's really going to determine how much slice and slide cutting and panels and added texture that you're going to want to incorporate is based on the density of their hair and their natural growth pattern, right? And their natural hair density. And you can see how she has a softness to her bangs, yet a structure kind of living in between the top and underneath layers. And then I'll use the side of my shears and I'll just kind of combine a lot of different types of dry cutting techniques just based on exactly what I want to see. So I wanted to leave them quite a bit longer on her for the photos afterwards, but you can definitely take those shorter. And there it is, French disc.